Hello, everybody. So today's assignment is going to be finishing the Monroe Doctrine assignment. So I will be sharing my screen in just a second so that you will be able to see how I'm annotating that. And so really this is almost like an answer key as well. So like I said, the Monroe Doctrine assignment, we started this in class the other day. Actually, you were supposed to start it on your last snow day. And then we started going over it in class, but I'm just going to start from the very beginning just so we can cover everything. So the first thing you were supposed to do was to define these words that are bolded and underlined. So we're going to go ahead and read through the paragraphs and define as we go. So the first paragraph reads, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. The occasion has been judged proper for asserting, as a principle in which the rights and interests of the United States are involved, that the American continents, by the free and independent condition which they have assumed and maintained, are henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European power. So I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom down here, and I'm going to put my definitions down here. Just because it's a little bit easier for me to write that way. So the first word was asserting. So we're going to define asserting. And in class, we defined this one. And asserting was, we decided, like confidently stating something. The next word that was in that paragraph was henceforth. Henceforth. And in class, we decided henceforth means from now on. From this point forward. All right, so from this point forward, the Americas cannot be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European power. That's what that first paragraph is saying. The second paragraph reads, the citizens of the United States cherish sentiments the most friendly in favor of the liberty and happiness of their fellow men on the European side of the Atlantic. In the wars of European powers and matters relating to themselves, we have never taken any part, nor does it comport with our policy so to do. It is only when our rights are invaded or seriously menaced that we resent injuries or make preparation for our defense. So, with this paragraph, we didn't get to this, I don't think, in class. So, sentiments, we can replace that with a couple of words. We could say the citizens of the United States cherish feelings the most friendly or attitudes the most friendly in favor of the liberty and happiness of their fellow men on Europe. And then for comport, we could say it does not agree with our policy so to do. It doesn't agree with our policy to interfere in European matters and European wars. So I'm going to scroll down here and add that to my definitions that I have. Sentiments. Or feelings or attitude. And then comport is to agree with. All right, the next paragraph. With the existing colonies or dependencies of any European power, we have not interfered and shall not interfere. But with a government who had declared their independence and maintain it, and whose independence we have on great consideration and on just principles acknowledged, we could not view any interposition for the purpose of oppressing them, or controlling in any other manner their destiny by any European power in any other light than as the manifestation of an unfriendly disposition toward the United States. So this one's a little bit wordy. So I'm just going to work on the definitions now, and then when we go through the next part, I'm going to kind of rephrase that whole paragraph. So interposition, I believe second period, we kind of talked about some of these. So interposition, we decided was like interference. Interposition, interference. Oppressing. Oppressing is something we talk about quite a bit, actually. Oppressing is like putting down a specific group of people or holding them back. And so there have been several groups of people throughout history who have been put down or held back. You know, whether it be like they're not represented in their government, they aren't allowed to participate in, you know, whatever they may want to participate in, whether that be government, something political, or even like school or sports. The next word was manifestation. And manifestation can mean a few different things. In this particular context, they're talking about like presentation. So it's presenting, it's the action of showing something as an idea. So I'm going to say presentation, but not like a presentation like giving a presentation. Presentation like how something presents its form. So an action of showing an idea. A lot of people think about manifestation in terms of like making something happen. And then finally, the last word was disposition. Disposition is like your mood toward the other party. Or the other person. Okay, so those are all of our definitions, if you need to look at that for a second, because I didn't know how to zoom right. Asserting is way bigger than the others, but those are your definitions. So the next thing you're supposed to do is, you know, read it again to try to understand it better now that you have those definitions, and then to answer the question at the bottom. And the question is to identify the 4 main points that are stated. So we're going to break this down paragraph by paragraph, really. The occasion has been judged proper for asserting, as a principle in which the rights and interests of the United States are evolved, that the American continents, by the free and independent condition which they have assumed and maintained, are henceforth to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European power. So really, that means, you know, the American continents, so North America and South America, are at this point all free and independent. They've gained their independence from their mother countries, and they are saying they can't be recolonized. So they're free and independent and can't be recolonized. So that's our first main point. The first main point is going to be that the Americas are free and can't be recolonized. So it's saying, not only can Britain not colonize the Americas, but Spain can't, France can't, and not just where you were colonized before. They don't want any European interference over here. The second paragraph reads, the citizens of the United States cherish sentiments the most friendly in favor of the liberty and happiness of their fellow men on the European side of the Atlantic. In the wars of European powers and matters relating to themselves, we have never taken any part, nor does it agree with our policy to do so. It is only when our rights are invaded or seriously menaced that we resent injuries or make preparation for our defense. So they're talking about these wars and the wars of European powers and the issues that the Europeans deal with. So really that is saying we don't interfere in European matters like European wars unless it directly affects us. So point number 2. Oops. We don't interfere in European issues like war. Unless it directly affects us. We don't interfere in European matters like war unless it directly affects us. The last paragraph. With the existing colonies or dependencies of any European power, we have not interfered and we shall not interfere. So that is the next point. That's the third point. That with existing colonies that are not independent from their European motherland, we're not interfering and we don't plan to interfere. Not just colonies, but dependencies, because there are, small countries that depend on the mother country as well. So the third point is we won't interfere with existing colonies. I'm going to put some space between those words. We won't interfere with existing colonies. So that was the third point at the beginning of the last paragraph. But with the government who had declared their independence and maintain it, and whose independence we have on great consideration and on just principles acknowledged, we cannot view any interference for the purpose of oppressing them or controlling in any other manner their destiny by any European power in any other light than as the manifestation of an unfriendly attitude toward the United States, an unfriendly mood toward the United States. So that last section really, it's pretty wordy. So they're saying any kind of interference or action to oppress a group of people, a country, by controlling them, such as colonizing them, the United States will personally take as a slap in the face, as a presentation of an unfriendly mood toward the United States. So the way I summarize that, which is it's still pretty lengthy to try to summarize it, is going to be any interference in an independent country with the intention with the plan of oppressing or controlling that country will be considered it's really a slap in the face to the US. So how else could we say that? A slap in the face to the US, or let's just say that. A slap in the face to the US. And that is really the end of the assignment. So the 4 main points are: the Americas are free and cannot be recolonized. We don't interfere in European matters like war unless it directly affects us, and we won't interfere with existing colonies or dependencies. And any interference in an independent country with the intention of oppressing or controlling that country will be considered a slap in the face to the US. So you now have everything you need for this assignment. So hopefully you should understand the Monroe Doctrine a bit better.